Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to DocuSweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, honey, but through our own lens, and sometimes that lens is on our birthday. And it's a big day for birthdays in the, trashy gossip world, but we'll get into it. And here's the thing. We are always going to come back to a mild, sweet moment at the end because, we're cool. So, yay! Thanks for listening to us.
Hooray, welcome. So today we're talking Life After Lockup, Season 4, Episode 42, That Fresh Out Glow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. I'm trying to, that episode, I have the newest episode like so fresh in my brain that I'm like, I know the Fresh Out Glow was 100% Derek. But I'm like, what else happened in that episode? It's a good thing we have notes. All right, so let's start off with our first couple, and that is going to be Linda Z and I pushed the thing twice. Lindsay and Blaine. What an awful picture of Lindsay.
I know it's true, but happy birthday to Lindsay! Yay! So as a episode is dropping, late, and we will drop the new episode as well. It's a birthday week, so she's celebrating her birthday. Matt Maher of the Reality Gays is celebrating their birthday, and who else celebrated their birthday this week?
My good friend.
What? I'm sorry. What?
Yes. Chris Sarah celebrated her birthday this week, but also she did it on the 7th, which was last Tuesday. But my friend Aaron Thomas's birthday is today, the 12th as well. So it's like a lot of people on the 12th.
I got your present. Thank you so much for my lovely onesies and my new sweater. It's very me. Oh, and my smelly thing. I use she got me this oil that has like serotonin and different essential oils, and Kristen and I used it the whole time we were in Deer Valley. It was lovely.
Oh, good. It smells good. I didn't know whether or not it was going to smell because it just had a pretty container.
But talking about pretty container, we love Lindsay. You know what I'm saying? And she's more than just a pretty container, honey. Haha. She has like a, real ballsy attitude. And one thing that she won't have a problem doing, just taking off shoes and walking barefoot on, stubby rubble. Hot coals, honey, she'll go through it. There's calluses, there's southern calluses on them country feet. She can't feel a thing. It's her and ballerinas that have been like on point for 45 years. It's like nothing is coming through it. Wow.
Yep. It's like stubby rubble, Barney rubble, all of the rubbles are happening that she's just, she would rather have stones pushed into the bottoms of her bare feet than walk in the perfectly good shoes that she has in her dangling from her fingers while she's talking to her homegirl Stephanie. And I'm just so confused. Who is Stephanie?
Stephanie talks like this. Stephanie, just absolutely just hey, this most southern boy. You're just like, because when I just loved last season when oh God, what was her dude?
Blaine.
No. The other one from last season.
Marke, the one who's the British English.
No, the black guy that loved her accent.
I know. I don't know.
Marke?
That's not it.
I know. So, but man, he just I just love the way that Lindsay's, has her ding dong. And she has her friend has even like a dingery dong kind of voice. Like her friend's voice was so dingery dong that it made Lindsay like, do you want to spot a tea? On this phone call. I don't know. I just loved it. But yeah, basically, the friend's like, you guys can't have secrets from each other, and it's like, yeah, I knew that some things were up. I didn't realize that what he was holding out on me, watching her just cry, her makeup just running down, walking down some dry ass riverbed, probably there's some train tracks by, maybe she lost her brother on one of the train tracks one time, I'm not quite sure, it's just that she really gives me a lot of visuals and a lot of audibles.
Yes, Amazon Audibles. So we love them. We have a membership. We get 2 a month, and we are listening to many books these days. So Stephanie is telling her hey, girl, people owe you, so you don't need to be dealing with whatever shit Blaine is putting you through. And she, at first I thought she got punched in the jaw, but no, it's just makeup literally running down and pooling. And this is why I tell the folks, and I've told the folks on my YouTube channel, and I tell you guys, Lindsay is made for this TV. She took a molehill and created an entire mountain. it was like 2 episodes worth of drama of like her storming out of the office, walking down the country road, and then she just looked like she walks up to the house and stomps in, and Blaine's like, "Oh, we're gonna let how about him," and she immediately starts barking orders. She's like, "Blaine, I need you to go over there and put the electricity in the box and put the hammer in there and make it work, and then I need you, Skill Steven, to go over there and climb the ladder and get on the roof and make the planes." And they were like, "Oh, okay, well." Uh, Blaine's like, "Hey, do you want to talk about what happened?" And she's like, "No, what I'm going to do is take off my clothes while the cameras are here and continue talking to you as though I am not doing something that maybe I should be doing in private."
Also, here's the thing, because we talk about other shows. Lindsay on the show then gives us matching black lace lingerie. Gratuitous. No reason. She changes for no reason. She did she have to get into flannels? But that's what she just I don't know. It was too much for her. She could have at least explained it, but shirt came off, panties came off. I mean, not panties. Pants came off, but the panties and the bra matched. And I was so happy for her because, I really get sad when I see bad lingerie on the show. Not just this show, but the shows we watch. And so often we do. And so I just was happy for her. I was happy for her. And I wondered, do you get those at TJ Maxx?
Yeah, I mean, she probably got with Skylar and they went on a fancy girl little trip to this strip mall where there is a TJ Maxx, a Marshalls, a Ross, possibly a PetSmart, definitely a Kohl's,
Absolutely.
So he's telling her, "Well, I mean, blah, 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 blah." And she's like, "Well, are you married? Do you have kids?" Well, I know you have kids, but are you married? I mean, I guess I got to ask these questions now because if I don't ask direct questions, I'm not going to get any answers. And he's like, "Morning, man, and then she's like, "You know what? Just don't ever lie to me again." He's like, "Mama, rock," and then they hug.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be okay from there. And so she does make him say yes, ma'am, which I thought was like, oh, okay. Make sure he, signs on the dotted line and crosses his T's and his dots his I's. So she is changing to go to a drug test. And before she leaves, she said, "Don't burn my house down." And then she stomps out. The man's like, "Listen, if the house gets burned down, it's not going to be me. It's going to be this shoddy ass electricity."
Yeah. Also, at this point, I'm looking at this house. I'm thinking you really honestly should just burn it down and start anew. I mean, why did you have to leave that grandma's house? So didn't he have a great ass house? You went from some, kind of fancy grandma house, which yes, could use a decor switch to I mean, I don't know what this new house is, God bless. But maybe there was something else that happening there. But they have to build it from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? And so she coming in, bossing them around makes sense. Also, one thing that we love about Lindsay is that she was a boss bitch, queen bee of a drug ring. And, he worked underneath her. So they're all very much used to coming to her for orders, honey. And she'll dish them out. So basically then that crazy ass lawyer, honey, with the patchy patchwork suit and the long ass hair, he calls, okay, and is like, "Guess what? Remember that scene we had not nary 30 minutes ago where I basically was here, give me $15,000 because your case is so crazy. Well, I got you off of just house arrest. I'll call you." And he's like, Blaine's that's, first of all, that's amazing. And thank you so much. But also is that shit worth $15,000? He's like, "I'll cut you a deal."
He's like, "Oh, well, I guess I'll cut you a deal, And so Blaine is very excited and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to tell Lindsay." And so, yeah, it just felt like the friend is kind of scared of Lindsay, It's even though the storm is past and the troubles are gone, he's still like, "Hey, Lindsay's a problem and you're going to have to handle that." And Blaine's not going to handle it.
Yeah, he's basically I thought I was going to hear gunshots. I'd be scared shitless of Lindsay. And I get it. She has a strong jaw, honey, and I mean, I feel I'm a submissive person. She's very alpha in some way, I feel I'd be just, I'd be scared of her if I ever met her, I wouldn't want to meet her. I love her so much. I think probably, I obviously have already said this before, she's my favorite person on the show. I like root for so hard for her, but like she doesn't, my life. I like met her, like I'd be like, oh my god, because like, also I do this, like I'd be scared of her. I can get it. Okay, are we gonna save the craziest for last?
Yeah.
Okay, so can we move on to a couple? Do we have? I forgot if I have pictures or not. This has been like 14 weeks since we've done this. Yeah, I know we do. Here, let's move on to where I was going to try and find is Cameron and Eris, and I know there's a picture of them holding each other. It's no, it's not here anymore. Ha 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 ha. Okay, so anyway,
Look like.
What?
I said Patreon, they know what they look like.
Okay. So basically, okay, Cameron has like been a world traveler. We know that. And by world traveler, like an American traveler, he's been like all over states. Like he has been in 41 states. 41 states is like a lot of states. And obviously, like really when it says 40 at 41 states, it's 41 out of 49. Because why the fuck would anyone go to Alaska? So it's like 41 out of 49 states. Okay, straight up. And then you're thinking like, this person, okay, so he made it to Maine, like just think about all the states. So one state that he's never been to is Florida. And Florida is like a happening place. It's like big, like it's kind of obviously at the end. So maybe like he just kept, it feels like maybe Cameron just started and just zigzagged across America back and forth on lateral lines. And then kind of maybe like started in South Carolina and went down and just ended it in California and then flew home, but anyway. Yeah. He gets to explore Florida life. He gets to go to like Orlando or Tallahassee, and then of course to Miami. And he can't wait to turn up in that Palm Beach, South Beach. What do you want to say about that?
No, nothing. I was just gonna say he probably hasn't been to Vermont, Maine, Rhode Island. Maybe he also hasn't visited Idaho. And then I would say one of the Virginias, but I say he's been almost every other place,
But then like, yeah, so like he's been through the Dakotas, just driving through the Dakotas, like can't wait to go through Badlands. That's Cameron on a motorcycle. I mean, listen, if you want to sell me a show, Cameron traveling and traversing through these American states, I would buy it. I'd be into it. I love that man. So, and he really loves red, like who loves anything more? Do I love Cameron more? Does he love red more? I mean, he loves red more,
Yeah, that whole family, they love red. So they were like dapping themselves up too. He was like, he was going down the escalator and he's like, oh man, yep, this is OG Cameron. And I was like, no, we don't need OG Cameron. We need nouveau Cameron. We need a nuevo Cameron. We need a Cameron that isn't what he was when he was deciding to put 30 pounds of weed in a suitcase on a commercial airline. And that is who we need. So he gets into the car, kisses Eris, and they're like, yeah, we did that. But Daps, we got married. We got a house. Killing it. And I'm like, this is a little chancy to me. This is a little weird chance like behavior. And it's so funny to watch Cameron like act like he has all of his stuff together. Because he's like, I'm gonna go to the house. They get into that hot house. He's like, I'm gonna get it fixed. And she's like, listen, I don't even need your shenanigans. He gets kind of upset and is just like, don't assume that I am making my money dirty. You know what I mean? I got the money, it's no problem. And they have a little conversation about expectations, and he agrees to help her with Lena. I'm just kind of wondering what kind of help does she need that he can provide?
That fatherly advice. Yeah. I mean, I don't love it for Eris, and Eris's dad doesn't love it for her. Spoiler alert anyway. But yeah, I just want to go back to yes, of course, he brought weed onto a commercial plane and then he got caught with it. And then at an airport, in an airport, he ran. And then he got tased. I mean, I guess there's just, like, okay. So, but anyway, yeah. So he starts to have this kind of, and we've seen it before, machismo kind of like, don't got to ask questions about where I get my money. I'm going to get the money. Don't worry about it. And he's also like, don't worry, I'm not getting it from bad things. And he's also like, I don't have to tell anyone how I get it. And that's kind of like, well, babe, like, unless we see you go to a job, like what is it, like, and here's the thing, it could be, let's just say for him, I mean, like, let's just say it was sex work.
Mm-hmm. Let's say it was sex work. I am locking that in and thinking about it.
Let's say he was like, I can make money doing sex work. And I won't even fill in what that means. It could be cam work. It could be anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe he just didn't want to say it on, like something that wasn't illegal, but he just didn't want to say it for some reason.
Yeah.
I think that what it has to be is, of course, that the man or the couple have to like come together and know what's happening, and them as a front have whatever they want to say to the public. But the fact that she's like, how are you going to do this, and he's like, don't ask any questions, and his stare down about it is like, okay,
Yeah.
it's not Old Navy, I'll tell you. He didn't get a job at Old Navy, I know it, I can tell.
Yeah, that's a lot to ask. That's a lot to ask someone like Puppy and Eric. That's a lot to ask Cam. That's a lot to ask Mike. There's a lot of people who don't want to say how they get their money. It's hard for them to admit that thing, So
Yeah.
they quickly then have to get back into the car to go to another destination as a surprise that Cam has for her, something that he has set up remotely, and he's very proud of his calling on the phone and maybe some interneting skills of like setting things up in another state. And she's like, he doesn't even drive, so maybe he doesn't have a license, but he's like, go there, make a left. That must be what's happening, because how does she know? Like, how does he even know how to tell her where to go? He has GPS out. He's like, turn left, turn right. It's a surprise. So they get to the surprise, and it's like a beach. And just miraculously, her father calls her the moment she steps out of her car to have a conversation about him hearing about her getting married on Facebook. It's the same thing. Like, Nicole told her parents that she married Mahmoud on Facebook too. And they have a little conversation where the dad is like, I'm disappointed in your choices. And I, really want you to make the best decisions. And she's like, I did make the best decision, Dad. And everyone in the audience is like, Dad, no, she did not. Chris?
Here's the thing. It's so funny. It's also Libby, like, and Andre, like, saying that they are pregnant, like on social media or whatever the second time without telling her parents. But all these people will then easily pick up a phone call from the person they should have just told them about their big life event before everyone. And it's interesting to me. It's like, okay, if you don't have a relationship with someone and so you're like, whatever, you're going to find out with everyone else, fine. But if you have a relationship with someone, you're like going to pick up their phone call like so easily, it just makes no sense that you'd also not just send an easy text like, hey, like, heads up, pregnant. Cool. I'm gonna Instagram it. So okay, so he sets up this beautiful dinner, and we get into like a little romantic side of Cam. He's like, let me be the man, and I want to be, just like, let me do it. Like, he wants to like step up. He wants to, of course, have money and means without us asking any questions about him. But he's also like, at one point is like, relationships require trust, communication, muffin time, which we'll get into, and like then he says like, and learning each other's love languages. And I kind of wanted to also be like, and attachment styles. And I would have, if he had said attachment styles, I would be like, oh my God, I love you so much. But even when he said love languages, I was like, okay. Now, because he's like, see, my girl, she likes cheesy shit. She likes like roses and like candles, like, and here's the thing, that's also me. This dinner is beautiful. It's like over the top. They sit down, it's like shrimp and lobster. Also, God bless, there's like bottles of like Gatorade on the table too. And I'm like, can we just like pour that Gatorade into like a fancy glass? I mean, a Baccarat glass. Like, I don't care if it's like red. You can tell me it's like some sort of like fruity ass wine. But then they give them steaks or huge ass steaks with just gold leaf on it, just like, and all the while there, we're just not supposed to ask Karen any questions of how this is happening. We're not going to just like, the gold leaf steak. Is this is like, remember Salt Bay, where like that, I don't know how to say it. It's like NUSR dash, like, some fancy steakhouse, Ed or whatever, and like there's like a guy that will just come over and just like put a bunch of salt on your steak and just like charge you $1,000 for it because it has gold dust on it. It kind of reminded me of that. I'll tell you right now that the gold on that steak didn't make me feel like I wanted to necessarily eat it. I feel like I've seen that before, and I feel like I enjoy it a little more on desserts. Anyway, well.
Yeah, I definitely would need to know where he gets his money from. That wouldn't have been an okay situation for me. Unfortunately, I can't take like blood money gifts. Like, I mean, even if I know that you're a gangster, I need to at least know you're a gangster and know what this is happening. I can't just blindly let you pay for my AC, have me drive you around. Because to me, if you really got off that money, maybe you should buy yourself a car. But also maybe she really wants to have like access to him, and he can't get any in and around anywhere without her. Let's pretend there's no Ubers and there's no Lyfts. Let's just pretend that. So
Okay. In Florida.
she tells him like, yeah, that was my dad on the phone, and he's like, why is your dad asking you about this? You're a grown woman. And whenever folks have a really detached idea about family members, I get very concerned, because if he can't understand why her father would not trust her choices, then to me, he's kind of delusional. To me, he like is not ready to be in a relationship and doesn't understand familial bonds. And that's a problem for me. And the same thing with like, when he's like, oh, that's her and her dad, I let them, that's their relationship. And to a certain extent, but at the same time, you should want to get on the phone and say, sir, I understand your concerns, but I'm going to take care of your daughter, because that is what a healthy family is like. Now, unless the dad was trash, like absolute terrible guy who wasn't worthy of anybody's respect, but that's not the case. So you are the offender. It just really bothers me when folks who do the crime and serve the time then want to come out and want the rest of the world just to accept them. And I'm like, that's not reality, because going to jail,
I want that to rhyme so bad.
Common is not common in certain people's families.
Yeah. We talk this about a lot. There's like the two mentalities that come out of it, especially it feels like maybe a little bit for the guys, which is this like, oh, if I can just get things up and going with the whole like successful adult trope, then I like got this thing. It's like of course we said like the chance, like I gotta have a job, I gotta get the house, I gotta have a baby, like I got 1, 2, 3, I did it, like now I'm back, right? Did nothing ever happen and never left. So the other thing that also happens is, especially with addicts or people like that have also gone to prison, is this kind of like, don't blame me, like don't put assumptions on me, like the minute they get out of prison. And it's like, okay, but also we have to take care of ourselves, which you didn't do for yourself at the time, because you didn't at the time have the proper skills to make sure that you were taking care of yourself, not put yourself in situations that aren't good for you or whatever it is, and like we all have the different ways in which we have learned to deal with ourselves and grow and mature. But like, yeah, a whole part of that is like, and I'm not going to do that now for me by putting myself in your situation. I'm going to take care of myself. Take watch. This is how it's done. At the end of the day, these are the boundaries. You have not had a good track record. I see, I have eyes and I hear, and thank you for those gifts, and I'm going to use them, so. But yeah, I will say one other thing about Eris. She has like a tattoo that looks like she got like henna done and then actually got a tattoo of it, which I enjoyed. So muffin time is, when they want a bone.
Yeah. And I'm starting to not like him. So it's really hard for me to have that like jovial fun time. I guess it was really bothersome to me that he didn't want to get to know her father, or like prove that whole, I don't need to prove anything to anybody. No, you do. When you haven't gone to jail and you had a normal life and you pay your taxes and are on the up and up, then you don't need to explain yourself to anybody. But there is a bit of, if you go to jail for committing a crime that you knew was a crime prior to committing it, then there's a little bit of you just not being a responsible person. And I feel like a responsible adult doesn't get caught. Just kidding. But like, you failed.
That's another reason why, going back to like 90 Day Fiance, we were into Patrick and Thais, because Thais on her storyline, like her dad like wasn't about it, and Patrick was like, no, your dad, I want your dad to be about it. I'm going to work and it's going to be a situation until your dad, is about it. And also like, obviously, yes, Cam, like you literally fell asleep with a shoe, like, tucked under your chin, like a teddy bear. So this was like a day out of prison. So come on. Anything else about them, babe?
Nope.
Okay, let's move on to Sean and Sarah. Sorry, just kidding. But yeah, I enjoyed, there was, they have their little songs that get us in between as a transition, the cups. And the song that starts, Sarah is this kind of like garbage sounding song. It sounded like Shirley Manson, and it was like whatever, they always have like 3 words they say when they're, of course, is like the crux of the saying. So like literally the song is just like a criminal or something like that. Anyway, it just made me think of that. It's very 90s. I love that you said the pic with curly. Oh, I said this. So then she gets into her storyline of this Anthony dude, which of course is like her first baby's dad, and like, they had a drug fueled on and off again relationship that's full of passion, and it never really ended because he went to jail, and he chose the drugs over her, like blah blah blue. But they have pictures of Sarah from back in the day, and one picture is just like the curliest red hair, and I mean bangs just like go across her forehead that are just stock straight.
Yeah. It was a look. It was the early aughts, and there were many women of her culture and ethnicity who did the same. And that's why also her makeup is early aughts. Like that is who we're looking at, is that person who like did the damn thing between 2002 and 2008. Also, I just wonder what happened to Sarah and why she got on drugs. I always know that but I always feel that there needs to be some kind of backstory. In fact, I did have somebody on my YouTube channel comment, because I talked about folks because we were talking about TC, and I was talking about folks who choose to, use drugs as adults. And I mean, I'm sure that she was a child when she started using drugs, or whatever, but I'm just kind of interested in like what happened to Sarah. Now we see her mother and we know that something must have happened, but we don't necessarily know what it is, because it feels like her and her mother have such a good relationship now. And it could be due to like, having time away from each other, the fact that she's really grateful to her mother for taking care of her child. And maybe it's just I feel like jail did to Sarah what it should do to everybody, which is like straighten them out.
Yeah, like how her bangs were already straightened out. So let me tell you. So she's going to go meet up with Anthony. She's kind of been teasing that she's like upset with Sean, that Sean's annoying and boring and not there mentally or physically or whatever, psychologically. And, this dude that she has an on and off again thing that she obviously has a baby with or whatever has been like hitting her up. They keep talking or whatever. So this is where this story gets mildly confusing. And so basically, they set up a time to meet up, okay? So she goes to this coffee shop and, like, she orders like a latte or whatever, and she sits down and she's like waiting for this dude to show up, who shows up is his sister. And his sister has like cheekbones, honey, like cut from the gods, okay, whatever. And she's like, hey, Anthony ended up going to rehab, and so he sent me into the place. She's like, oh, okay. And then she ends up FaceTiming with Anthony, and Anthony's like, yeah, I've been in rehab for a month, which then makes me feel like, would you a month ago put this on the books? Put this coffee book? What?
No, I think the whole time he was in rehab and he just didn't tell her. I think he's been FaceTiming her and texting her and talking to her from rehab, and didn't neglect it to say, and then set up this time with her like an idiot. Or maybe set up time with, maybe it was the producers who set this up. And so the producers are like, hey, Anthony wants to talk to you. Would you be willing to talk to him? And she's like, okay. Then the producers set this up for her, but then didn't tell her that Anthony wasn't going to actually be there because he was in whatever. And the sister came instead. It was actually quite unnecessary for the sister to be there. It was like she just said hi to her. I don't know if the sister like kind of used to hate Sarah, because it wasn't super warm, but it wasn't terrible. And also like the sister is like, yeah, he wants to see Abby. And I said, what about you? Have you never gone to see Abby? We find out that Anthony just like never had a relationship with Abby, even though he wasn't in prison the same way that Sarah was. He just didn't. So she does want Abby to meet the dad because just like a lot of other single mothers that I know, there is this sense of, well, I don't want to be the reason why they don't know their father. I don't want to stand in the way and, do that thing. So Sarah's like, well, Anthony and I never broke up. And so I don't know how he feels. I don't know where he is. I just went to prison and he kept doing his thing and then I haven't spoken to him. So he calls her, and let me tell you, This man lays it on thick like peanut butter and honey. Just is, I don't care about that fool Sean. He'll never love you the way that I love you. He is can never pales in the comparison of what we had. I want to try with, he doesn't say I want to necessarily try with you. He's just like, I'm going to get better and I'm going to do things and you're going to see. But I do want to get to know Abby in the meanwhile.
Yep, absolutely. And you had written this, but she giggles. She's not on the phone like, all right. And she tries her best to be like, well, I want him to be in a good place. But at the same time, she's like, hi. Well, it never really ended between us. So I could see how you would not really understand how you could think of your life without me. Like, she's so happy when he's like, I want to be like, he does kind of say like, I want to be with you. Like, he's like, this is what he says. He's like, I'm jealous of him. Like, wish you were my girl or something like that. And she like just melts. She's like,
yeah, especially because she knows that Sean is a liar and that he isn't treating her in the way that she wants. And he, is taking her for granted. And she knew this going into it. She probably just didn't think it would happen so quickly.
Yeah.
Like she's like, well, I mean, it took Kelly at least 5 years to realize that Sean wasn't shit, and then she kept going after that. But I get 5 years? So no, she can't. So we have their next segment, and Sarah is cleaning, and Sean comes in, and he's like, hey. He didn't even try for the cameras. He like says hey to them. I don't know if he says hey to producers. He looks at that baby and says hey, or maybe he like reaches down and kisses the baby on the forehead. But Sean doesn't like children, especially his own,
especially daughters.
Yeah, he like goes directly to the couch, sits down, and starts playing his video game with his son. Now I understand why it's important. No one's trying to stop him from seeing his kids. But yeah. I said you couldn't take like 30 minutes, get undressed, at least ask her how her day was. Tell her about your day. Just like hold that baby for a second so she could like clean without having the jumper or the bouncer. I love a bouncer though. I feel like bouncers are like the little best things for baby, especially if they don't love them. Now, if they hate bouncers, then they're the worst thing ever. It's a waste of money. But yeah, just strap them into that bouncy thing and just like bounce them, or if it's jiggles itself, that's even better.
It's just that this is like seriously the time in which you got to put this baby right on your chest. Like this is a fresh baby. Like, you got to like, this baby is in a onesie that is Minnie Mouse. And I mean like the Minnie Mouse like blanket. And she's like Minnie Moused out. Pick her out of that thing, honey. Go on the couch and just like look at the baby, put the baby in your chest and just like coo at the baby and just like pet the baby if the baby falls asleep. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, you probably could play a chill game with the baby on you. As long as you have like played with the baby a little bit, the baby will fall asleep on you and just keep the baby in your chest and just like beep, 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 whatever. So, but yeah, so he goes and immediately, puts on the video game and he's like talking to like, one of his sons, and Sarah's not having it. First of all, he like had one of her famous cookies and like dropped the cookie everywhere. She's like, thanks for, like fucking up my floor. And then he's like, sorry about it. And then we're like, is he going to pick it up? Is he going to be, but now that he knows, and it's like the producers caught this chunk of cookie. It was like half a cookie. It was like, doesn't pick it up. So then he goes and plays a video game. She comes over, rips it off and is like, the fuck you think you are? And just like gives it to him. She's like, you're shitty. You're the worst. I don't understand how you could come in and do this. Like, she's like, I'm not Kelly. Oh, I don't care who you are and what kind of ring or ceremony we had last season. Like, I'll leave you easily. And now I'll get money from you. So great.
Yeah.
And she's right. I wish she'd say it to him. Like, I mean, like maybe she doesn't have to say it because he knows.
Yeah. So she, at some point, like she stomps upstairs and, oh no, is this the part where she's in the swing? Is this the one where she's like gets in lingerie and is in the swing and he doesn't want anything to do with her?
No.
Then he goes downstairs and plays video games and then she like gets upset.
Oh. That happened like two episodes ago.
Oh.
So anyway, yeah, this is the one where this literally happens again where it happens twice in this episode after she lays into him and is like, he's like, I'll fix things. She's like, all right, we'll see, whatever. Then he goes downstairs. He picks up the baby and starts to like, play the baby. No, just kidding. He goes right back to the video game and she marches down again with her like weird ass colored ass hair and rips it again and just like rips off the thing. I'm like, at this point, I'm throw the thing away. I'd just be like, well, you don't own a PlayStation 4 anymore, sir. And I think he would have a PlayStation 4. I don't think he has a PlayStation 5.
Oh my gosh.
So, at the same time as they're fighting, like this baby is like a sack of potatoes, just like, like being like kind of like thrown back and forth. Like, I don't like when people fight near a baby. If you think a baby doesn't like hear it, like a baby's hearing it, the baby's feeling and hearing it. And like, I don't like that for a baby. It's too violent. It's too much. Baby can't be hearing that. Baby's got to hear heartbeats and, like, whooshy sounds, like white noise sounds and like Libby sung lullabies. That's the only things baby. And for me, Julie Andrews. Wow.
Little warm, fluffy sleeper, I'll paint the starlight for you. La la loo, la la loo. I love that song.
Okay, baby boos. Let's move on to a new Coops Badoops. And since we've already kind of talked, we have a couple more Coops. We have 3 more couples, but we keep talking about Chance and Taylor. Let's get them done. So, we've been knowing what's happening with them, which is basically like Chance got out of prison. He was just like, I want to pretend that I never was in prison and I wasted 14 billion years. And so I have to get all those 14 billion years back in 1 year. So I need it all now.
Yeah.
He wants an instant family. So this is the other thing. He's an addict. He was on, had addicted to pain pills, right? And he loves certain rushes. And he also loves spending money. And I'll tell you, it's very, very hard because I kind of get it. I like spending money too. It's hard to say no. It's hard to not justify what should be done, and it's so interesting because later on, maybe it's a family trait. So basically she's shopping in a thrift store for baby clothes because she doesn't have any money for baby clothes. Meanwhile, she tells this fucking story that Chance she caught spent $300 on some dumb phone game called, which I've never heard of, Coin Master. Have you ever heard of that?
No, but I think that what it is it's this program that kind of feeds several different phone games. And so he is just doesn't know how to manage his money. $300 and they are like poor in Missouri could go a long way. That's like food for all 5 of them, 4, 6 of them. I don't know how many. There's a lot of kids. There's like so many things that you can do for your family, but he's not ready to have a family. He wants to be selfish. He wants to live life. Go ahead. You saw what Coin Master is?
Yes, it is just, oh God. Yeah, let me tell you what it is. It's like, it looks like it's visually a very well done game, but it is just a child's game where you have, oh, my phone's about to die. You have, like a little town, right, and different things are unlocked. And yeah, you want the best ones. This is what it says. Join your Facebook friends, which is so sad that it's Facebook is like the major part that plays this. That is, he's an old man. And millions of players around the world in attacks, spins, and raids to build your Viking village to the top. Do you have what it takes to be the next coin master? It's like spin. Yeah, it's just like he's, here's the thing. Sometimes when you have anxiety or you have depression, and sometimes it can be somewhat easy to fall into the virtual lands or virtual worlds or any sort of like Dungeons and Dragons or cosplay or The Sims, that kind of thing. Because I feel like I had moments where I went into The Sims when real life was too hard. Sometimes it can be easier to just control and roll over and be somewhat successful at these weird games that play upon you. It's just it hit me $300.
Imagine how many people have gotten rich off of cell phones and cell phone games. It's crazy. It's like a whole market I never even think about. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he his friend thinks that he has some kind of Peter Pan syndrome, he's never going to grow up. So then she calls him to see where he's at, and he is driving, and of course he ignores literally all of her phone calls. I don't know why she bothers calling him. He's not going to answer her. And it turns out that this fool is driving to Troy or somewhere, and he goes to a friend's house and pulls all the way up in that man's garage, just to the back wall. in that man's garage instead of just parking on the street.
Yep.
And then he's like, "Thanks for letting me do this." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do power wash driveways because that's what people in suburbia want is their driveways power washed. So once they see one neighbor getting their driveway power washed, that's when the big bucks start rolling in." And we're like, as somebody who's lived in the suburbs all of their life, you just use a regular hose. I mean, unless you're like literally, I don't know, like changing oil in your front yard, why would you need anybody? Why would you need your thing to be power washed? You get the hose out and you either like put a hose top on it that's like powerful, or you just like hold it and it comes out harder. I don't know.
Maybe it's like I thought maybe it was the facade of the house. I don't know if he's also doing other things, but yeah, he's just like buying things to try and like be the jack of all trades. Like he just wants to like hit it rich, having like a billion side jobs. Like he kind of fancies himself as just like going out and hustling and getting money here and there. But at the same time, he keeps telling Taylor that's what he's doing. And Taylor's like, yeah, I don't see any of the dollar bills. Like I don't, like what I see are bills. And then none of the dollars to like build the, pay the bill.
Yeah. She tells us that she's gone into debt because of being with him, or at least her credit is bad. She was already in debt, but her credit is bad because he, runs out of money to pay for the things that he says he's going to pay for. So she ends up footing the bill and paying for them, and then, doesn't pay her credit card because she would rather have lights and roof over her head. So, then he gets a call, and it's not Taylor, so he answers. And it's from his son, Ethan, who he hasn't seen in 18 years. And he says, "Hello. Hi, Ethan. This is Chance." And it's so funny because he's like, "Yeah, you know who this is because you called me." He's that nervous. And we start to really see what kind of doofus Chance is in this moment.
Start?
Yeah. Like it became, I now no longer see him as an adult.
Oh, no, I mean, I think I just kind of felt that regressive quality before, but basically he obviously feels bad about the fact that his son, like and him have not a relationship. And so, yeah, when the son can't afford to come up, he's like, yeah, I'll get it. And he's
like, shoot, I'll pay for that.
Yeah,
like,
come on.
Big man on campus.
The sound, the VO of their phone call felt a little forced. Like it was kind of a weird VO because I don't know, just like it was so like, okay, like, and it's like, well, you just like, yeah, you don't know your dad at all. You're just like, that's not awkward for you. Like, I can't even think about it. Like, and also you're just free this weekend. I know, just like the way that sometimes when you see plans being made in a situation that's so forced, you're like, but wouldn't you have to ask other questions, like, or check in something for, like, I don't know. So basically, Chance's just whole thing is the addict mentality, almost like of a gambler, where he will make it up. He's just going to make it up. He's just going to make it up. Like, no. Just like I have to do more now, or, whatever. It's just like, when I think of it's the gambling, it's like, like I'm down 500, but if I just bet on this $1,000 thing, I'll be up and I'll be up, like, oh shit, I'm down 1,000 now or 2,000. But if I just bet on this 5,000, I'll get it all back. You're just like, I'm down 400 million. But if I, so anyway, you get how that works.
Yeah.
We have 2 more cups left. I feel like ultimately this is spinning into a sadness. I don't even know what to say about this one, really, but it's going to be excited for next week.
It's spinning into a sadness?
Yeah, I feel bad for Taylor.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, he's like, listen, he's like, I know I didn't talk to Taylor about this, and but if she were to tell me that no, he can't come, I think that would be the deal breaker for me. And I was like, oh, you're on a horse? You got a horse? And that horse is high, huh? Oh, you're gonna leave Taylor? You're gonna leave Taylor and your baby because she won't let the grown man who you neglected to take care of for the last 18 years come and stay in her house with her little children, and you're not asking her if this grown man can stay in the house with her 3 little girls? I mean, now we all know that she doesn't care about a grown man staying in the house with her 3 little girls because she let Chance just like up in her house. But I mean, listen, you gotta ask me before you let somebody in the house. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, she had to get Bobby out some way.
Yeah. So next couple that we're going to talk about is Puppy and Amber. So it is the night after the fight where TC like snitched to the entire world that Puppy and Eric were drug dealers. And so he's in the garage kickboxing. I mean, I'm sure terribly. And Amber's like, can we talk? Can we talk? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, listen, I'm sorry. We don't even fight like that. And we have this like just confessional of Amber and her giant titties, just telling us how she's not used to having a relationships where people don't fight. And she finally for once has a normal relationship, and she gets really defensive for Puppy. And when he said that, it just triggered her. She doesn't know why she gets so defensive. And she's like, and I know I told you that, but I was wrong at the time. And I was saying that she may have been selling drugs in the beginning, but that was before you. She just tries to cover her tracks in all kinds of way, tries to appease the audience so that the police don't go after her friend. But she also tries to appease TC by saying, yeah, I did say that, but I was wrong. The truth is that as soon as TC said you sold drugs and she's like, no, I didn't say that, he should have dropped it. It's his fault.
Absolutely. Like that. Yeah. He knew what was happening. Like, he also, if he didn't, he knew that, let's just say that he didn't put the two and two together that it could hurt Puppy. He did at least know that Amber didn't want her spot blown up on TV, even just hers or her relationship, which is fuck. You know what I'm saying? That part was fucked up. Also in this conversation, Amber's voice is down here. I mean, her voice is so low, and TC's is up here. And like it's just, she is in the morning. She's because she's like apologizing the morning after. I mean, her voice sounds like it is just graveling the floor. I mean, my goodness, I love it. I love a low voice. It's just I don't get to hear it that much. It just sounds like she smokes 200 packs of like Camel Red Strikes, like not a filter to be had, like pre 8 a.m. And then as she orders, we'll see later, just tons and tons of black coffee. I feel like, I mean, her throat just must be like, like one of the tunnels in New Jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yes. Also, a coal mine is what I was like. I was like, she needed a canary to go down there to see if there's air. Like, what's going on? I was trying to help out and figure out where.
I know. I was like, how do I get there? But I know yours actually is better. I wish you Jesus, Wah. Yes, and okay. So then we go over to Puppy. Okay, and this isn't great. This is so fucked up.
So Puppy's like, Eric and I, so we're in a lot of debt because this ex-wife, she's taking up all of our money with this divorce, and she's just being a lot of drama. And I don't want this, but it's just the way that it is. And the way she talks in her confessionals is, give me Puppy all day. Yep. Give me Puppy all day. She is the poorest Southern belle I have ever heard in my entire life. It's like she's like a little delicate, like lady on a Savannah hill, but just poor, like
yes with the biggest eyelashes and the biggest eyes and those lips and those just, I mean, Sharpie eyeline or Sharpie eyebrows, and they're always kind of like just giving puppy eyes. I just can't even. No, she's just. Puppy is Blanche Dubois. She is like, well, depend on the kindness of like mean people, not just strangers. You know what I'm saying? Like truly mean people for her, bad people. That's where but her mother, and okay, well, we're gonna get to everything because her mother just like makes me feel like a certain something. So, all right. So anyway, so let's just talk about this. So basically, Eric has always like been obviously an asshole. Everyone hates him. He's disgusting. We know this. Like he's gross. He has a gross car. He has like a fucked up situation with like his wife or whatever. We love Puppy so much. Like we know that Eric's bad for her. We have no desire for them to be together. And Eric is also like weird, possessive, like is like, controlling with her, and he has this moment like, yeah, you're just being a man, just, wants to provide for his wife or will provide for his woman. And I want to be like, but you're not. But you're not providing for her. I'm sorry. I don't see her driving a car.
Yeah, no, he provides for her, but also like wants to keep her underfoot. She's just like, it's only by the grace of God that Eric and I said, ma'am, it is by no grace of no one's God that you and Eric are doing anything, especially Eric. Eric is of the devel. Like he is a devil spawn. So like there's no grace of God when it comes to Eric. And so she's like, well, you know what? You should let me help you. You should let somebody who you didn't let help the last time help. And he's like, oh, well, who's going to help me? And she's like, me. And he's like, girl, shut up. Go ahead and sit down somewhere. I got real things to talk about. I got bills to pay and things to do. Like, don't nobody gonna hear about you trying to go get some job. Like, what's discernible? What skill set is Puppy gonna do? And when she said that, I said, Pup, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna hit the stroll? How are you gonna make that money?
Old Navy.
Oh, okay. The Old Navy lane down by the sea where she can meet all the sailors and get a little cushion for the pushing. Is that where she's gonna do it? That Old Navy?
Yeah, an Old Navy man. Yes, of
Yeah.
course. His name is Captain Sir
Seaman Duval.
Yeah,
Seaman
okay.
Washington.
Yeah. And listen, that's how you do it. That is how you do it. But basically, then we find out. Okay, so then basically it goes back, and Amber is having a conversation with TC, and TC's like, also like, with you, and this is kind of was going back before, you have to handle yourself at the end of the day. Like, you have a whole situation where you can't be in any sort of fucked up situation because the law will just be like, oh, a reason, give me one reason to stay here and I'll put your ass away. Like, you used to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, you was get sent back to prison. And she also like says, yeah, like, I will be on, she says, I will be something till 2025, whatever it is, and then on probation. Oh, I will be on house arrest, I know, for 2 more years, and on probation for 20 years after that. Basically saying that she'll be like 50 or 60 before she's like truly free in that way. And that's the reason why she can't be like in no wrong place at wrong time.
Yeah. Then we find out this terrible news that TC's father started drugs when he was 16. So TC has absolutely zero tolerance for adults making poor choices. And I think this is where Amber must go, damn, like, he must think I'm a piece of shit, because she's like, well, I'm one of those people who make those poor choices. And he's like, but you're not anymore. Right? It's like a threat. Like, and I get it that she's not, but I do think she needs to be with somebody who does understand her lifestyle and perspective. Like, she couldn't be with me because I don't understand it. But TC is so like anti it to the point where he doesn't like the sweetest little butterfly in the field, Puppy.
I mean, if you don't like Puppy, you don't like anything. I mean, what to tell you.
That's what I feel too. I feel the same way, because the shit that goes down with Amber and Puppy is never because of Puppy. It's because of Amber.
Yeah, or it's because Puppy doesn't have good boundaries with her own life, and Amber has to do something because Puppy doesn't have boundaries in her life. But yes, you know what I'm saying? Yes. Anything that's gonna be intentional. But yeah, let's end on a high note, and that would be the note of Monique and Derek, honey.
So Derek and Monique, I'm trying to get Monique's cadence. I can get it once I like really get into the pocket of talking about them. So Monique is wearing a onesie, and I would like a onesie. I really feel like I should get a onesie.
Like a Justine onesie? Huh? Like a Justine onesie?
Yeah, but like more of a sporty one, like the way Monique is wearing one.
Okay.
She's putting it on with her Yeezys. And she's like, Derek and I didn't have sex with Derek last night, but I did send him to go get me some croissants. So he comes back with a croissant for her and as breakfast and some coffee. And then he just like basically tells her that he has been pushing and fucking every woman that has come across his way while she's been gone this entire time.
Yep, and as baby girl Lisa would say it, raw dog. He's been raw dogging his way. So basically, we know that he had this relationship with a CO or something, right? And that CO probably was the person that chased them that one time, okay? And so when we find out that he has cheated on Monique within the first week after she left, like, it's a CO. We like, that's like an obvious situation. So, he lets it be known. And okay, so obviously also last episode, Monique said that she might be pregnant because she's not had her period in like a hot ass minute. Okay. He lets it be known that the girl that he cheated with also said that she was pregnant. So he made that girl take a pregnancy test, and guess what? She wasn't pregnant. So then he brings home a first response test for Monique.
And guess what? She turns out to not be pregnant. Monique is pissed to take this pregnancy test. She said something so chaotic, like, yeah, I told you I hadn't had my period, but that doesn't mean I'm pregnant. Oh, did you want to tell him that you hadn't had your period because of other health reasons that the rest of the women in the United States, when we watched you, heard you say that, knew exactly what was the reason why you didn't get your period? Or did you, I mean, it is just, she's very exhausting at this point, and I cannot wait until someone beats her up. You know, like that is where I am in my journey with Monique. She needs to be just kind of punched because she's always talking shit. She was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna beat your ass." That's what she told Derek. Like, yeah, if she had gotten pregnant, then I'd have to beat your ass. You in what army?
I mean, I wish more that the conversation would be like, I'm going to leave and never see you again, but like that's not what it's going to be. Her sisters have the right energy, which is like they're just kind of like sad and they're just like we didn't want to see it for her anyway, but they keep coming. So basically, you don't want to go around, but she's not pregnant. And then she gets mad at him because she realizes that like he definitely had, you know, baby girl Lisa raw dog this other girl, and that could have given her like any amount of STDs. She's like, you have to get STD tests. So it's like a lot of tests happening across the land. Ha ha ha. Drug tests, STD tests, pregnancy tests, honey testing. So he says that he really has a passion for her, and she gets her sisters to come and they all have dinner and like meet up, and then she's tells her sisters, oh, don't worry, like Derek apologized for everything. We're like, it's chill, it's cool. And they're like, I'm sorry, come again? What?
And she's like, yeah, no, we worked it out. And he said that he's going to do better. And so I forgive him and that's it. And then they're like, no, Monique. Like, and then Derek strolls up. And he's like, oh, okay, what's up, Sylvia? Yeah, what's up, Sandria? Okay, yeah. And then he sits down and they're like, okay, so what's up with the infidelity? And he's like, dang, no pleasantries. And I'm like, boy, they already did. They said hello to you. You said hello to them. And then you sat down. Now they needed to get straight to the point because guess what? You're on a TV show. And so they're like, yeah, what's going on? And he's like, yeah, like I told Monique, you know, I'm done with all that. Like I'm here for her. And, you know, I made a mistake. And so no more side pieces. And she's like, pieces? You said pieces. And I also told Monique that I was seeing other people too. I mean, I didn't tell her that they were women that I was talking to while I was in prison, but you know, she knew. Monique, you knew. Stop acting like you didn't know. And then Monique is like, no, Derek, don't say that I didn't know that, because now I'm getting mad.
Also, when he said, I was like, oh, did you tell Monique you were seeing dudes? So I'm like, oh, no, it's like, it's fine. I mean, like, if that's what it is, I just want to know if that's what you meant. I want to know. So, yeah, like, they, of course, are her sisters, and they're gonna like be steadfast to her like soldiers. And we obviously have two sisters on his side, so it's kind of just like the battle of sisters. Like, but that's why I guess it's hard to not. I am Monique's sisters to me are in more control than Derek's sisters. So even though I can't say I like Monique over Derek or Derek over Monique, I definitely like Monique's sisters over Derek's sisters.
Yes.
Anyway, in the sense that I feel like they actually like Monique and want the best for her, and Derek's sisters just like show up when the camera crew is like, oh, we're shooting today.
They want chaos. They want clout. That's it. They don't care about the brother, really.
So then this is my favorite part. Derek's, for some reason, leaves this dinner for a second. Like, he's like, oh, I gotta like do something, you know, whatever. And like this whole time, we know Monique has let it be known that she's like been checking his phone, like checks the location, like checks whatever, like has access to his accounts, so, you know, whatever it is. He gets out of this restaurant and then like takes out a phone and then takes out another phone. And we're like, ha ha ha, you see what he did there? And then takes out another phone. And we're like, he has 3 fucking, like at a moment I was like, well, how many, this person has way more phones than that, honey. If I see 3, then there's actually 7.
You know what I mean? I have a theory that he got a phone from Chris when Chris went back into prison. So he got Chris's extra phone so that Gabby wasn't able to check on Chris. And now it's just a whole phone that they're just all passing around within the Lalu world. I mean, it is crazy that he has 3 phones. You would have assumed that the one phone is just for Monique and he don't use that for nothing but like DoorDash and Monique. And then the other 2 phones, one is for the CO and like other girls. And then that last phone is for him and his friends. Like, it's just like, why does he need all of that? Or maybe one of them isn't even activated. He just has them because he likes to like floss like he has 3 phones. I don't know. He goes live on Instagram on one phone. And then
he still has that tablet from prison too. He has so many devices.
Yeah, he's deviced up. Yeah, and he even like flirts. Doesn't he like trying to talk with the girl at the bar too? Like, he's doing a lot. He is not going to let Monique slow him down, not 1 second.
Not
So
at
then
all.
he's like, Monique, you know it's not true. Monique, you talk about me too. You call me all kinds of names too. And she's like, well, I mean, Derek thinks that calling him a bitch sometimes is like outside of his name, and I'm like, no, calling a man a bitch is like really bad. It's like you call him the lowest form, like, you know, even though it's misogyny, because why is being a bitch bad? But like, I was like, oh, you call him a bitch? Wow. Yeah, I would cheat on you too.
Well, it's whatever it is. It's like, you if you say that something that you're undercutting someone's like pride or manhood or ego or dick size or whatever it is, it's something that is supposed to be derogatory and disrespectful. And so like, what's the, like calling, yeah. So it's just yeah. But she knows what she was doing. But he's like, yeah. So basically, she called me a bitch, so I could totally just fuck everyone. No, because you see, like, she disrespected me, so I had to. And the sisters are like, but you were talking to Theo before she called you a bitch, but you were talking to Sia before she like you got out of prison. He was like, she
Yeah, but that was plan B. You know, Monique was plan A. So, and if plan A didn't work out, then I was gonna go with plan B. So, you know, but I'm done with all that. I'm done with all that. Man, I love Monique. I love Monique, and the love that she has for me. And I love her. I like her, and the love, and especially the love and the like that she has for me back. So that's the reason why I'm here for Monique, because I love her and I like her, and she got me on the show. And I have a lot more Instagram followers because of Monique.
So I will stop seeing all the other side pieces, and
yes.
Monique's like, oh, I'm sorry. What'd you say? Sasas? Pisas? Pisas? And he's
Yes.
like, yes, sisses. Like, yeah, I mean, he's just like, now this is where it made me remember this. Okay, so then it made me think of this. Yeah, it made me think of, so the sisters' whole drama with the other sisters is that, like, obviously when he got out of prison, the two sisters came, sets of sisters came to meet up, and then like it didn't go well. And then one sister immediately posted on Instagram, and somehow the other sisters knew the following and like got that sent a picture of Monique in blurry being like, look, this my brother came out and this is his girlfriend and so gross, bleh. And then the other post was like, my brother just got out of prison, like where's the bad bitches at? And I want to be like, that Derek, that's his name? Yeah, I was like, who am I talking about? That Derek, like on an Instagram account, like looked at who put comments and who liked that picture and then just went down the line. It was like DM, 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 DM. Yeah. Like, and this is, of course, the name of the episode. He is like, look, I got out of prison looking like this. Looking like this, honey. I don't know. I did a great like skincare routine in prison. I did like some C serum, honey. I mean, it's like I exfoliated out to tell you because I am glowing and the dick be glowing. It's like, remember J-Lo, like early aughts? Like that's the glow. Like my dick is glowing like J-Lo in the early aughts. Do you understand? Yeah. Like a moth to a flame, burned by the fire. Women are jumping towards me and on top of me. Just what happens when you get out of prison, honey. And so maybe it made me think, should I go to prison?
I don't know if it works the same for women, because the men that want to have sex with women out of prison are like Chaz, you know?
Yeah, who was that guy last time that also like had the mom and kept trying to like have different, and they had this Excel spreadsheet. It's like that's the kind of guy I would get. I would get a Mark, just like a but poorer. So basically,
that's it.
Yeah. Oh, well, no, okay. Derek wants Monique and the sisters to go to his house. So the sisters are like, well, I don't want to go to your sister's house because your sisters are nightmares. And he's like, it's not gonna be a big deal. So why don't we just meet up and like see what's happening so you can like feel comfortable going to my sister's house. So that's kind of like how that ends.
Yeah. Oh, and that's what we see next episode. That's the clandestine meeting. And it's so great, that meeting. It's such a great meeting. I was here for it. All right, you guys. So thank you so much for listening to us. But if you want to see the visuals of what you are listening to, you can join us for $10 a month on patreon.com/DocuSweeties. And as Matt Marr of Reality Gaze says, it is just 2 coffees a month, y'all. So going ahead and, join us. Leave your fields of flower. Join us. Leave your cheese to sour. Join us. Yeah, in our cinematic review. That's not the words, but we got magic to do just for you. We've got Instagram and TikTok. Chris.
At Docu Sweeties. And then Docu Sweeties one on Twitter. Oh,
Want to perform.
guys, thank you so much for being here, being with us. We so enjoy you, and we so enjoy listening to this. And if you have enjoy us, give us 5 stars. Tee. Other than that, we want you to have the best rest of your day, and we love you so much. That's all we have to say.
All right. Bye.
Bye.